In this video, I'm going to show you how to bypass these leaking things that are a pain to try to replace. Actually, you can't even replace them. Nobody will sell them to you. So they're the ones that screw into here. This is the radiator, and they always leak. Actually, in this case, I had both of them leaking when I replaced the radiator. This is the old radiator, and I ended up using the old ones off here, and it lasted for a few months, and then they started leaking too. So I'm going to show you how to bypass these so you don't have to worry about them leaking. You don't need no special tools to remove them, none of that kind of stuff. So what I did is I went ahead and put in an external trans cooler on there, and I just drove it around, tested it, AC on, floored it all over, didn't get hot at all. So basically how I did it was, you don't need this exact one, I just happen to have this one, so I used it. I imagine any trans cooler will probably work. This one is kind of rated for like vehicles up to 27,000 pounds, so it's like for towing it's kind of unnecessary to get one that big, but if you want to go with it, I mean, why not? It stays more cool. So to start, what I did was I went ahead and took the grill out here. You can see it's over there. If you want to do this, it's very easy. Just a clip here, and then there's a clip here, and then the grill just literally pops out. So this is the trans cooler. I went ahead and mounted it here because the lines are on this side, and I didn't want to run them from over here underneath and then down. It was much easier just to run them here. So it's, as you can see, it's very solid. It's on there. It's not moving around. It may not look super great, but it works perfectly. So basically what I did is there's two bolts, one here, and I took that one out. It used to look like that one, and I put a bigger one in here. And let's see if you can see. You can kind of see I put a spacer in there so it's not touching this bracket. And then on this side is the same thing. You can see there's tons of room behind it. I wanted it spaced so you know it wasn't rubbing. And then here I put a bracket. I ended up drilling a hole in this and then putting a bolt. I put a bolt in here and then just made this little bracket and then put one here, and then there's another bracket right here, as you can see. Look at this side. It was one of these bolts. I ended up unscrewing that bolt, and then I just put a bracket on there like you can see here, and then I mounted it up first, made it nice and solid. Then I hooked these lines up. This one was kind of killer. I'd recommend you hook the lines up before you mount it because the clamps are like almost impossible to get to. And then I'll show you underneath here what I did. So basically I just ran the hoses around here, boom, and they come out through right here and they tie into the old, let me try to hold the camera still. The old line that was leaking is right there. This is the fitting that kept leaking, and then here's the other fitting that kept leaking, and they're both pains. So what I did is I cut both of them off. This line used to be hooked up way up there, which I'm going to show you in a minute where those clamps are at, and I ended up cutting it off and I just put it on here. It doesn't need a clamp because nothing flows through here. No coolant, no transmission fluid flows in here, so it's just kind of sitting there. It's not going to fall off, not going to leak, so I just kind of leave it. So basically those lines that are coming down here from the trans cooler, they're running under here. They run around the back side of the frame, which if you don't have enough hose, you could literally run them under here. It wouldn't matter because that big piece of plastic right there covers them and you don't see them. I'm going to put that back on here in a few minutes. So yeah, the lines, they just hook right on up to get that stupid hose out of there right there. So this is where they hook on. The other one's up higher. It's kind of hard to see. There it is. There's that one, and then you got this one here. And I put double clamps on there just to make sure that they're not going to pop off. And it doesn't really matter which one you mount them to. If you mount them, you know, the top or the bottom hose, either way it's going to get cooled. In this situation, I ended up mounting them where the fluid comes in from this one, and it gets cooled, and it comes back through this one, and it returns to the transmission. But it doesn't really matter. I do know that it's much easier than changing these out, because you got to drain the coolant, you got to do all that. This, you don't got to do none of that. I use a hacksaw, cut the line off. I used dikes, cut the rubber hose off, hooked it on, put that on, and that's pretty much it. I'm gonna check the transmission fluid because it leaked about half a quart maybe. So yeah, just hook that back up, and then hook this back up. Boom. And then when I put this grill back in, it's not gonna be that bad. You know, it's gonna look almost. You probably won't even notice it. You know, obviously I'll tuck that in so it'll look normal. But yeah. And you can check the lines. You can kind of see them here too. This is the line right here, that clamp. And you can, you know, if you want to check them for leaking, you don't have to get on the car, underneath the car, and worry about the plastic shield. You can literally just fill them with your hand. Oh, focus. There we go. Fill them with your hand. No grease. Okay, no oil. You're good to go. So I ended up breaking a couple of these clips, so I had to get some new ones. But yeah, just pop the shield in, pop that in. Boom, you're good to go. So easy. Done. No more hassling. And I took this thing, I took it out on the back road and I did about 120 for about 3 miles, and then I ran out of road. And I measured the temperature of this and it was about 140. So, I mean, nowhere am I going to be driving faster than that or longer than that, working it harder than that. I had the AC on. I had everything going as much as I could, try to load this thing down, and yeah, this thing was about 140, so it did fine. Pulled strong, shifted fine, everything was perfect. Just no leaks. I love it. I highly recommend you do this upgrade. And if you decide to do it, that thing was, you can get it on eBay. It's about 40 bucks. I got lucky and I ended up finding one for about 30 bucks. And then the hose, it comes with the hose. I had to buy this hose. It was like $5. This is special transmission hose. You can see there's Trans Cooler line. So Gates O'Reilly's $5 for that, and then it comes with the other one. Buy the clamps, they're like $3, and then boom, you're good to go. Hope this helps.